Hello everybody, Darth Loquitur back again with another account review today. We're going to look at an account that's about 1.3 million galactic power, Shue, the meat bag. I'm going to ask at the start of this video, if you guys are liking this content, you like these account reviews, please remember to give me a like, give me a subscribe, help the channel out so we can do more of these account reviews. Alright. So if we take a look at Mr. Shue, we've got number 253 in Arena with the Revan team, number 204 in Fleet with the Geo Tarkin fleet, and in the last Galactic GAC, mid placement on division looks like. Quite a bit of galactic power in ships. So if we go into the ships and look, we'll see that he's got GOs at 85. Still working on the 7th star for Sunfac. The silencer is started. Houndstooth is going along really well. Got that going, got Boss going, so that's a good ship. Got the Executrix here with quite a bit of effort in it. And if I look, it looks like the Houndstooth, or the Home 1 also has a bit of effort put into it. We've got a TIE Advanced with a Relic Vader, looking like a ship that could be big for the future. And then we do see Lando's Millennium Falcon unlocked. And I'll just say, on my main account, when I played through the first time around, when I read Lando's Millennium Falcon, it just seemed like and felt like a really good ship, and I invested in it. And I gotta say, that investment never paid off. That ship is not very impressive. So I don't know how much more you plan to put into Lando's Millennium Falcon, but unless that's a project of love, it's not that great of a ship, or at least I haven't found it to be. If we go over to look at the characters, we've got Darth Vader, Merciless Massacre, all zated up. For his mods, he's got Potency on the Cross. That's good. We like that. Crit Chance and Speed. He's got several 6-dot mods that have been boosted. And we can see that he's got, even though he doesn't have a speed set on Vader, he really has quite a lot of speed. A little bit of crit damage there from the set. Potency around 87%. That's okay. And some damage. Crit chances at 75. So this Vader is trying to get a lot of critical hits. If we look at his Jedi Knight Revan, he's got protection on the cross, which, you know, it might not be exactly what you want as the main stat, but it has a lot of speed on it. And if you're going for speed on your Jedi Knight Revan, sometimes you just have to accept whatever mod it is that you have that has speed on it. So I get that. If we then go look at the Grandmaster Yoda, you got a health triangle, which probably could be changed out for something different. 232 speed. That's okay. It's not great, not bad. And some damage mods. He's got an offense set. Padme's got the Zetas. Geo Brood Alpha's got the Zetas. Jolie Bindo has the Zetas. If we look at Jolie Bindo, he's got health on the cross, crit chance, and speed. And when I look at this Bindo, I feel like this Bindo has somebody else's mods on him. So this is not at all how I would mod a Jolie Bindo. So we're just going to take a look here. He's got some speed. His health and protection are not boosted very much. His tenacity is real low, and there's not really any additional armor to speak of. So if we look at Jolie Bindo's skills just for a second, he has extra max health, and whenever he uses an ability, the target's an ally, that ally gains protection equal to 30% of his max health. So you're real interested in getting some health on Bindo if you can. Then if we look at his other skill, he has 100% tenacity, immune to turn meter reductions, and he gains bonus critical avoidance equal to half of his tenacity. So since he gets plus 100% tenacity, he'll already start out with 50% crit avoidance. And I would say it's a good idea to get him to 100% crit avoidance, but really it's a good idea to get him to about 120% crit avoidance. There's a lot of characters in the game that have, let's say, close to 100% crit chance and the potential to also get a crit chance up buff. So it is not uncommon to see characters with 116% crit chance, 122% crit chance, something like that. So I feel like you need to get your Jolie Bindo up so that he's got about 100% tenacity showing. With this other 100% tenacity, that puts him at 200%, which will give you 100% crit avoidance. And then you put a crit avoidance arrow on him, and that'll take you up to 124 or 130 if you six dot it. And then you've got, over, let's say, 200 tenacity or more, which means you're not going to get debuffed by anything. And you also have enough crit avoidance to virtually guarantee that you're never going to get critically hit. And that's what makes Jolie Bindo such a pain in the butt to take down. And if anybody's ever fought a properly modded Jolie Bindo, a character like that Darth Vader with a whole bunch of crit and crit damage, you're just hitting with your straight offense. You can't crit against him. And it looks like you're doing nothing. I mean, you hit him hard with one of these crit-based characters, and it just gives him a little tickle, and his protection bar goes down a touch. And he just feels like a brick wall. And the way that you do that is you build up his tenacity, guarantee that he can't get critically hit, and then build enough armor on him so that each attack is doing less. Okay? And of course some health too if you can, because he's got that health boost. So if we take a look at Ezra Bridger, I just want to point out some things here. He has a skill that lets an ally attack and get 100% crit for the attack. And under Jedi Knight Revan lead, in addition to all these other things, whenever a Jedi attacks out of turn, they recover protection and deal 35% more damage. So when he calls that assist on, let's say, Revan himself, Revan gets a ton of extra crit and he's doing extra damage. So if you have a relic Revan eventually, Ezra Bridger is going to make him be able to hit like a truck. So I don't know if you're using Ezra Bridger in your Jedi team, but that is definitely something to consider. So he's got Palpatine, Commander Luke Skywalker, Anakin. He's got a bunch of stuff unlocked. He's really got a lot of characters. Darth Vader, Palpatine. In looking at this Empire team, I can't tell exactly what he's going for here. I see that there's a Thrawn down there, but I'm not quite sure what 5 characters he's trying to put together here. And I didn't see another Sith somewhere that made me think that he was building like a Sith tank or something. Maybe I just missed it, but it's not clear to me what's going on with his Vader team. So that's something to think about. So that's the look at the account. Now if we take a look through, so the concept for strategy. Grand Arena and fleet placement are the main priorities. For Grand Arena, we're looking for one really big defensive team, one really big offensive team, and a good base of teams to put on defense and clean things up. I've also added another line here, and I'm going to start with this video. I'm going to start doing what I call a 6-pack. And the reason for this, when I go back and look, it appears to me that they're doing the 3v3 arenas every 3rd month. And there's a distinct possibility that that's going to be their cadence. 5v5 2 months in a row, and then a 3v3 in the third month. So I think if that's the case, then we have to start thinking about Grand Arena in terms of building 5-man teams, but building it in a way where we have a floating sixth character somewhere, or at least we understand how we're going to divide up a team of 5 characters, add a sixth character, and make 2 3v3 teams out of it. So I think that's an opportunity for me to do in these reviews in the future. I'm going to start today. Comment down below. If you like it, say so. If you think it's a dumb idea, happy to hear your feedback. This is all to help you guys. All right. So what's going well? We got a Relic Vader with potency, so good stuff there. We got Jedi Knight Revan, Padme, unlocked, Zated. There's been some investment in fleet, and honestly, with as much as he has built on both of those capital ships, I wonder if he's using some Squad Arena currency to buy additional prestige, or maybe the count's just a little older than I think it is. But yeah, the fleet stuff has got a decent start. And for sure, he has lots of teams. So he's got a very broad base of teams for Grand Arena. And he's done some good work on mods. So there's a lot of these characters that are modded in the right way. And, the mods, he's got some pretty good mods. And you can see that he's paying attention to, putting 6 dots and investing further materials on the mods that make sense. So in general, good work. So the opportunities that I see now, there's a lot of unlocks and a lot of characters, and there's a lot of other characters being worked on. There's a Grievous team that's all at 4 stars, and maybe he's trying to gear up a Grievous team as well and get shards for those characters. I think there's too many projects. So if this was my account, I would really be funneling energy into gearing up. And I don't mind having a bunch of characters that I want to gear up. And for anybody who's watched my gear video, this idea of fill gear, having a bunch of characters that you want to level up, but you're not in a hurry to do so, and you're just letting the gear fill in while you farm the hard gear out of the nodes, it's not a bad strategy. But there comes a point where you have to stop building new characters and really fill in the gear on the characters that you've got. And then, again, you're going to get down to needing those 1 or 2 last pieces of gear on a critical character. Then you farm that gear and finish it out. And you keep pushing up the characters that you've got rather than keep building more new characters. So that's what I think I would be doing. I don't see anything in the fleet to deal with Houndstooth. I would really build something to deal with Houndstooth. Since you've already got the Geo ships, and that's kind of a separatist line, I'd probably work on the Vulture. If you Anakin's already at 5 stars, and there's some 7 stars, and there's work on Jedi Knight Anakin. So you could also use his ship if you wanted to as reinforcement. But for your fleet placement, I think the reason you're probably where you are in fleet is because struggling with the Houndstooth, or at least that's my guess. So build something specifically to deal with that Houndstooth, and I think your arena placement will go up quite a bit. There are some modding improvements that we're going to talk about, and the arena team, if we go back and look real quick at his arena team, he's got Revan, Grandmaster Yoda, Bastila, the Geo Brood Alpha, and Vader. So on offense, this is quite a good team, right? Because you've got a pre-taunt tank that's going to take some hits, and the AI is not too clever about it, so they're going to do their thing. You've got 3 Jedi in there to mark somebody down. You've got Vader to go crazy with Merciless Massacre. But I think on defense is probably where you struggle. And, other players who come in against this team are just going to cleanse the taunt off of the Brute, the Geo Brute, and murder Vader, and then deal with the rest of the team. So I don't know if you noticed that you climb a bit each day and then fall back down. But that's what I would expect to be happening with a team like that. And you've got Bindo unlocked already and Zated, and Bindo is difficult to deal with for a lot of teams in Arena up to a pretty high level. So I think there's an opportunity there. So what would I do with characters and ships? Again, I guess I talked about it early, but there's a lot of characters waiting on fill gear. Don't bring more to the party, and that will allow you to take things like your Cantina currency, your squad currency, your Galactic War currency that you get every day. Just buy characters that you already have 7-starred, convert those to character shards, and then crunch those up in the shard store, and that'll help accelerate getting some of these characters through that gear 10 and 11 and up to gear 12. And I think that's what I'd be working on. I see Commander Luke Skywalker, and just from looking at the account, I get a feeling like we're building another big leader. I don't see anything to back up Commander Luke Skywalker right now. So I think he should be a longer term project. If you do end up, working more on your Biggs and Wedge for the Rebel fleet and build their ships, maybe that's a project that you have in mind. When that happens, then work on your CLS. But I would just let him be a back row defense for now. You've already got a lot of other projects going on. And for that reason, because I see that you've gone for some Rebel stuff, then I would start working on those Rebel ships at some point, and I would definitely build that Vulture. Or like I said, if you just want to build Anakin's ship instead, and not build the Vulture, that's fine too. But get something to deal with that Houndstooth, opposing Houndstooth. So here's the idea of 6-packs, and just to explain, the dash in the middle is kind of the break between the two 3v3 teams, and the character in parentheses is the character that I would leave out of the 5-man team. So for Revan, Bindo, Yoda, Bastila, and Ezra, and I see you've got a Hermit Yoda going in there. So Hermit Yoda can be a thing, but Revan, Bindo, and Grandmaster Yoda, that's a very standard 3v3 team. It's good, it's strong. And the reason I would build that in that way as a 5-man team, if you get that little more effort put into that Bindo, get the right mods on him, so that he can revive all the fallen Jedi, but not die himself, be real hard to kill himself. I think that gets you to the all Jedi team, and I think that's going to hold defensively better than the team you've got there. And it may not perform better offensively because of the Relict Vader, but I would definitely mess around with that. And if you get the Revan to Relic level, then for sure you want to have an all Jedi team. And we'll talk about some more about that on the next slide too. All right, so for Padme, you've got Anakin. I see you're working on Luminari Unduli. We've also got Kenobi in there and Ahsoka. And I would make that the 5-person team. And then for 3v3 arenas, you could add 5s in there and have Padme, Anakin, and 5s. And then do the Unduli lead with Kenobi and Ahsoka. And I think that team would really have some pretty good durability. That would be an interesting team to put together. So I can't guarantee it'll work. I haven't play tested it, but again, if we're building just from what you've got already, I see you've put some effort in there. Or if you didn't want to mess with 5s and you don't want to do anything like that, I mean, you could just put R2D2 in there in the second team and put Ahsoka in the first team. So there's some different things you could do there, but like I said, I'm just messing around with this idea of 6 characters. For the Vader team, maybe you could do Palpatine, Vader, and Thrawn with Tarkin and Stark. I see that there's a Bastila Shan Fallen because she's a great character, but when I'm trying to think of 6 characters and where does she go, maybe she goes in with Palpatine, but that kind of leaves Thrawn floating, and Bastila doesn't fit in very well with an Empire team. So if you do, if Bastila Shan Fallen is, something that you're working on, you have to figure out something with her and Vader, and then, maybe Stark and Tarkin and Palpatine as your second team in the 3v3s. So I don't know. I'm not sure what you're doing there with your Empire team, but this is a concept. It's an idea of where you could build a 5-character team, and then with the Stormtrooper thrown in there as a sixth character, and make these 2 3v3 teams. For bounty hunters, there's another example here. We've got Bosk, Dengar, and then IG-88 is in parentheses as the 6th. Bosk and Dengar can be very aggravating to fight as a defensive team, especially if you get that Bosk really geared up. And I imagine that you're going to relic Bosk because a lot of people do. It's a great character to relic. The Houndstooth is a great ship to have a relic pilot. So if you get a really big Bosk and then Dengar just hides in stealth, it's hard to deal with. It's hard for an opponent to deal with. And then if you put IG-88 in there, he'll probably die off at some point. But if he can get some of those early area effect, damage all things. And then the second team, I put Greedo, Django, and Boba. The sheet is showing Greedo in the leadership slot. I think that should be Boba. That's a mistake on my part. We want this Boba Fett lead to give everybody critical damage, critical chance, and extra speed for debuffed enemies. All right, so with mods, like we talked about with Bindo, I would focus on the main set bonuses being defense and tenacity mods, definitely a tenacity cross, health on the triangle, or you could put defense on the triangle if you wanted to. That's fine as well. And then crit avoid on the arrow. If you just go all in on tenacity and do 3 tenacity sets with a tenacity cross, maybe you can get up over 140% tenacity. And if you do that, you'll be 240 and your crit avoidance will be 120. And then you can skip the crit avoidance arrow and do, defense, health, whatever you wanted to do on that arrow. I wouldn't do speed. Bindo is better if he's just a brick wall and you worry less about the speed. Bastila, consider making her faster than Yoda. And, I messed around a lot with my Jedi Knight Revan team. And I did one configuration. My Bastila is still gear 12, so it was just kind of an experiment that I was doing. But I made Bastila the fastest one on the team. And then I made Yoda the second fastest and Jedi Knight Revan the third. And that sort of takes you out of the running going against certain teams where you really want Jedi Knight Revan to go first, target somebody, get a stun. He's really good at that. So slowing him down isn't the answer if he's going to be, your main offensive team. But what I did, I set that order. Bastila gave the extra buffs over to Yoda. Yoda would go second. He uses his second skill to pull and duplicate any good buffs off of the opposing team, then does battle meditation and gives everybody battle meditation. And then when Jedi Knight Revan goes first, you've got 5 Jedi that are just buffed to the hilt. And when he does his assist, because they're all buffed up and doing extra damage, and they also do extra damage when attacking out of turn, you can just target their biggest character and kill it in one hit very reliably, assuming that you're fighting teams at roughly the same galactic power as your Jedi team. So, I haven't seen that recommended on a lot of other channels, and all I can say is consider it. Think about it. You can swap out your mods and do something different, and then, if you don't like it, just go back to what old mods you had, and it'll cost you, 100,000 credits to mess around with, if you want to. But it does work, and it does make that team hit really hard. But you got to get their speeds really close together so that the opponent won't get a turn somewhere in the middle, and you really got to get Bastila to go, Yoda to go, and then Jedi Knight Revan to go within, let's say, 10 speed or less of each other. Kenobi, I noticed you have a lot of protection stuff on Kenobi, and I would definitely go with health as the primary stat for all that stuff. And just as a public service announcement, for anybody who doesn't know, protection up in the game is based off of health, not protection. It's weird. So when Padme says she gives 40% protection up, she's giving protection based on the max health. And Bastila Shan's the same way. Her leadership ability says, I forget the exact number, what is it, 200% protection up at the start of the battle. That protection up is based on your character's total health, after mods, after all the bonuses, everything. So assuming Kenobi's in your Padme team, you're going to want him to have high health. The defense mods that you have, the defense stuff, is good. It's fine, but not protection, health. Now, there are some skills in the game that say recover 20% protection, or like K2SO where it says gain 1% max protection. And those really are based off of your protection. It's just when you get a buff based on, or whatever called protection up, those buffs are based on health. So it's kind of weird. But it looks like you have your other characters modded that way. So I'm guessing that the owner of this account already knew that. But for anybody who might not know, that's why you'll see Padme teams with tons of health on all the characters. Even like Jedi Knight Anakin and Ahsoka will have health mods on them because that protection up is all triggered off of health. Okay, so that's all the advice I had for this account. Shue the meat bag. Thank you all for watching. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Come back and watch more videos in the future. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next video.